They
Chatting
missed my
away there,
amazing
and we
right.
had it muted. Yes! Technical issues. Okay, we'll
You
start
never
that
had it
Never,
again.
muted.
never work with children or animals, eh? That's it.
Aye.
Thank you to Reedy who kind of pointed that out in the chat. I just kind of glanced over the chat and noticed that. Sorry to cut you off mid-point, Craig. We'll come back to that in a second. We'll do the intro again. So yeah, apologies about that. Hello and welcome to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gav. Joining me today is Dave,
All right.
Craig,
All right.
and Stuart. Guys,
All
how are you
right.
getting on?
No bad. I'll just got a fast version. Fucking bored, not been up too much. Aye, the announcement sounds good. We'll see what happens. Just need to wait and see what Sturgeon says, eh? Move on.
Yeah. I mean Boris seems to be making a play for the Euros, Craig, with the saying about fans back potentially 17th of May.
Aye, quick recap. Aye, good news. Wait to see what Sturgeon says. You mentioned it earlier. Definitely making a play. Nah, they definitely seem to be. It is promising though. Like we've all had, like the last year, I think for everybody, in one way or another, it's just been something that we would never have envisaged happening.
Mhm.
So it's any bit of good news is positive for a many number of reasons. But aye, the prospect, knowing that come August time we'll be able to go back to Easter Road again, hopefully, is definitely a bit of good news.
Yeah, Stuart. Definitely quite exciting the possibility of getting back to Easter Road in August
Yeah,
in some
absolutely.
capacity at least.
Yeah, absolutely. There's it's something that we've all missed. I think when we are all fortunate enough to be season ticket holders at the signing up point last year, I don't think any of us would have envisaged a whole year without getting into a game, being with your fellow supporters. Obviously, bigger life issues had to take over, but by God, we missed it.
Yeah, and Hibs home form's gonna, our form's gonna go off the cliff once fans are back because
Yeah.
been brilliant without them.
To be fair, we might have missed it, but the Hibs certainly haven't missed us.
I know. There's no stat that we're one of the most improved sides in terms of form since fans haven't been in the
Yep.
grounds.
Over half a point a game, I believe we're up.
Wow, there you
There we
go.
are.
So we're going to obviously have a chat about the Hamlin game today. A good win and a clean sheet. Have a chat about all that. We're going to have a chat about Boyle's return to form. Obviously, there's talk of Doig getting a new contract. We'll talk about that as well. And then, I mean, we're starting to look a bit more comfortable in third place. Surely second's too far to reach. We'll have quite a wee chat about that. And as always, we're going to be finishing up with your questions as well. So make sure you get your questions in the live chat, and we'll get to them. So I mean, Hibs 2, Hamilton 0. Stuart, what was your reaction when you seen Gogic was out? I mean, Gogic has been getting a lot of praise the last few weeks, but Newell came back in for him. What was your kind of reaction to that?
Yeah, I felt really sorry for Gogic getting dropped out of the team. However, I could understand it tactically. For there, should we need someone like Gogic when we're playing Hamilton? Not that we should have been taking them lightly. This is the time of year where Hamilton always come to life. They've looked like absolute dog mince all the way through the season, but last three quarters they spring into life and somehow survive every season. We know this for a fact. And the first 10 minutes, it kind of looked like it might have been the wrong decision.
Yeah, I definitely a good start for Hamilton, which we'll come to in a second. But Dave, I mean, do you think Gogic is it one of those ones when we're playing like Hamilton at home, we're not going to play Gogic in midfield as well as a back three, or do you think it's maybe could it depend on the opposition, or do you think this is the midfield going forward?
I think it'll depend on the opposition because we did it with Bartley quite a lot of the time. It does kind of slow everything down and maybe clogs up the middle a wee bit, like maybe a wee bit of waste in a back three where sitting midfielder. So if we're going to dominate the game and take the game to opponents, which we should be doing when Hamilton and that come, then I'd say Gogic, heavy rest, use your squad, innit?
Yeah. And Craig, I mean, Stuart mentioned that they're potentially regretting it the start of the game. It was a very strong start from Hamilton, wasn't it?
Definitely was. As Stuart said, and as we all know, like every single year, you probably think about 90% of Scottish football tip them for relegation. And for the first 6 months of the season, it looks like it's going to happen. And then it gets to January, and they just seem to start picking up points here and there. I mean, they were unlucky not to take all three against Rangers the other week, I thought. And they definitely had a bright start on Saturday, obviously, with Doig getting caught in the ball and them hitting the post. A few snapshots that Marciano gathered easily, but no, the first 10 minutes was definitely encouraging for them.
Yeah, like you mentioned there was a shot from distance just after a corner which Marciano dealt with, and the one where kind of like say Doig and Hanlon kind of got mixed up, and I think it was Ogilvy hit the post. I don't know how you pronounce his name, something like that. Anyway, the number 9 anyway. Aye. And then just after that, so it's just after the 10-minute mark, the ball it was good work from Cadden actually, sort of in the right wing back position. Good pressing, won the ball. It came to Jackson Irvine. Great ball forward into a bit of space, which Boyle runs onto, and the centre back Hamilton just comes running across to kind of intercept it, and he gets sent off. Dave, what's your kind of thoughts on the red card? I was going to say, he clatters into him, but then he doesn't. So, I mean, this is all up for interpretation, and depending on what speed you watch it at, whether you freeze photos. I know Hamilton are a bit annoyed and appealing. Dave, what's your thoughts on the red card?
Well, first of all, you can't look at a tackle by freezing a photo, because you could take that frame by frame by frame and it changes all the time. So Kenny takes the context out of it, because he did come in at about 100 mile an hour. To me, studs up, flat right through, so I can see why the ref sent him off. I'd be annoyed if a Hibs player got sent off for it, I'll be honest. And maybe the game is getting a bit soft to that, but why, and I know he doesn't hit Boyle, but why does he need to hit Boyle for that to be a red? Why does Boyle need to be sitting there with his leg into for that to be a red? It shouldn't need to come to that. At the end of the day, the way it goes in, if Boyle's fit is where the ball is, then if his leg's planted, then see like a leg.
Yeah, Stuart, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, for me, I think it's a lot more cut and dry, and I kind of said it on the chat on Saturday. If we are in the stands at Easter Road and you see a boy crashing in at that kind of speed, with that, we are all up and baying for blood. Let's be fair with it. Boyle manages to get the ball a bit of space. He actually taps it past the player and then has to jump so he doesn't get injured. We see it week in, week out. Players getting 3-4 challenges in on Boyle before the referee does something. It was actually quite nice to see the referee, I can't remember his name, just a young lad though, looked like he'd been doing his paper round before coming to referee the game on Saturday. But he took his time, he spoke to the linesman, and then he made his decision. It wasn't rushed or anything like that, so I think it was the right decision.
Craig, it came out this evening that Hamilton are appealing it. Do you think they've got a chance?
I am not. I think I definitely sit with Dave in that I don't think it's as clear cut. It's no a stonewall red card for me. And I kind of disagree with Stuart a wee bit. And I think that when you look at the way the tackle is, even if Boyle doesn't do anything to get to the road, I don't think he's going to get touched, because there's that big a distance between them, and the way that they're like almost going to cross over, like Hamilton goes in and Boyle just goes in behind them. I think it's his trailing foot that's caught him, if anything. But you can't go in at that speed with your foot like that. If his foot's flatter, or if he comes in at more of an angle to win the ball, then aye.
But he doesn't touch Boyle with that foot.
Why does he need to? He's caught
the ball on the bounce with his studs. Like you say, freezing a frame, you could look at it a 1,000 different ways. And I noticed that Hamilton have conveniently picked a frame for them to choose to freeze it at. But like Dave says, I'd be a bit disappointed if a Hibs player got sent off for that. But then I agree with Stuart in that if that's at Easter Road and we were there on Saturday, like the stadium would have erupted.
If that had been
for a red card.
For me, if that had been Doig doing that, a Hamilton player attacking, my heart would have been in my mouth thinking, oh, here we go. So you're immediately thinking, and likewise, the referee gets one look at that.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
all he kind of gets. Damien, an excellent point. And I totally respect what you were saying, Craig. we can't just kind of break it down and slow it down. I believe a lot of the pundits have been saying, "Oh, never a red," or things like that. Yeah, when you've watched it 3 or 4 times from 3 or 4 different angles, slowed down, it is just getting tougher.
The thing
but
is,
we're
as
never
well,
going to get VAR.
the they talk about VAR, right? But you look at the quality of the quality of the cameras that we use, right? Look at the screenshot that Hamilton have put up that's obviously taken of a video. Like it looks like it's been taken on a Nokia 20 years ago. Like even like VAR wouldn't work with us for the lack of state of the art cameras that we've got. It's not like the Premier League production where they've got HD cameras and 4K cameras here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely up for debate. Like, say, let us know in the chat, the live chat, whether you think it was a red card or not. I mean, I personally think there's a good chance it'll get overturned. But I understand what you're saying. I'd maybe change the rules, because if you go in with that intent, but at the same time, he didn't get Boyle, got the ball with that foot. So, and it was the trailing foot that kind of got Boyle, if anything.
But that's the example that I gave with just 2 seconds. When Joe Newell got like the at Ibrox, when the boy went to clear the ball and his foot was up at Joe Newell's head, and we were all screaming, and then Rangers fans are like, "Oh, didn't they actually kick him in the head?" And do you need his head to come off like for it to be a penalty? Your foots are like that high. You shouldn't need to necessarily make contact all the time. It's dangerous play.
Yeah. Well, like I say, it's definitely up for debate. I'm no referee, so I don't know. I think there's a good chance it'll get overturned. But anyway, so obviously with that sort of foul, there was a free kick, and Newell took the free kick. Dangerous ball into the box, but it kind of got bounced away. And then Doig done really well to kind of win the ball. The ball then bounced to Martin Boyle, who picked it up about 35 yards out, got in closer towards goal at the edge of the box, curled it with it into the far corner. Stuart, your thoughts on this goal?
Yeah, first of all, I thought keeper probably could have done better with it. But again, on replay, I think Boyle just picks his spot absolutely perfectly and slots it in there. No, great finish from a man who's obviously in a very confident mood right now.
Yeah, Dave, they're sort of getting more and more confident and trying more. Like 6-7 weeks ago, Martin Boyle wouldn't have tried that, and now that he's got that confidence, he's attempting shots like that, and it's coming off.
Yeah, and it's probably the advantage you have on him more central, because he wouldn't have even been anywhere near that. And I like that he just kind of placed it as well, rather than putting the laces through and it ended up like tapped here. So I was quite happy with that. But Craig ruined that goal for us. We might as well tell everyone that.
Yeah. So
No.
Yes,
I
you
never
did.
ruined it.
Yes, he
Right,
did.
the volume on your telly ruined it.
As the goal went in, I sat with my Bovril.
The also thing was,
Didn't
you
even
also
react.
said if a goal happens, I'll just take a drink and not say anything. So you're taking a drink and not saying anything. It's like, well, something's happened. Yeah, we were doing a watch along on Discord, kind of with the game on one screen and a kind of Zoom call or Discord call, video call, so we could kind of watch the game together.
And
But
we
yeah,
tried like hell to get into sync, and for some reason it just wouldn't. So I
Yeah,
was like 5-10 seconds ahead of everyone else.
yeah, which is a bit frustrating, but like I say, it was fine though. Other than that, I think the majority of it was fine. So yeah, it's just try to find a different way to watch it, which I know I've seen on Facebook, a few Facebook groups, a few people have been trying that, doing video calls together and watching it together. It's making the best of it, but hopefully, like we were saying at the start, not much more of that to go. But yeah, like saying, and just after that, we got a penalty. It was a corner, and I have to say, Craig, you criticised Boyle's corners when he first started taking them, but this was a dangerous ball. More than just the first man, kind of got past the back post. Darren McGregor heads it back into the danger area after peeling off his man, and Doig gets in front of the two defenders, kind of gets a touch on the ball and goes down. Craig, did you think it was a penalty?
Aye. I think that just firstly to touch on Martin Boyle, he's obviously been doing work on the training pitch, because I think he's it's still not consistent enough, but it's a lot better than what it was when he first started taking them. In terms of the penalty, when you get yourself, I think it's clever for Doig, he gets himself into a position where he knows that if he takes a touch a defender's going to commit, and as soon as a defender commits in the box, like 9 times out of 10, it's only going to go one way.
Yeah, Dave, your thoughts? Was that a penalty?
Soft, but yeah, I'd be raging again if that got going against you. I'd be raging, but oh well.
Yeah. And
For
Boyle
me, it almost reminded me of the Boyle one against Aberdeen at the start of the season. Kind of, there is a touch, defender Boyle, who it was, just kind of as a caught a bit napping, striker's able to get in front of him, and that's it. It's a penalty. You're annoyed, but yeah, it probably is one.
Yeah, I have to agree. I agree all around it was a penalty. You understand what you're saying, Dave, maybe a bit soft, but I think it was well worked from Deutsch, so credit to him for winning it. And then Boyle missed the penalty. Stuart, he obviously scored one a couple of weeks ago, but not the best penalty, but he obviously scored it. This one, a bit of a, I don't think it was that great a penalty, but obviously fair play to the keeper for going the right way and saving it. So does Boyle take the next penalty now, or do we change the penalty taker?
Yeah, let's just keep changing the penalty taker. Sod it. Next one must be Darren McGregor's goal soon enough.
Makers takers.
That's that. If you win the happy hippie halftime draw, next time you get to take the penalty as well as the money. Brilliant. Can't wait. I don't know. It was actually a well struck enough penalty, good height for the keeper. And if you actually watch Boyle's eyes, they go directly to where the ball's going to go before
Never
he
mind
strikes.
his eyes. Never mind his eyes. His head.
Nah.
Like, as he runs, his head goes. But it should have been retaken.
Why was
You reckon?
that?
Encroachment, keeper off his line.
Right.
You watch the replay, the 3 Hamilton defenders that are on like the east stand side of the box are almost beside him as he hits it.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
No, I didn't even notice that. Fair
Should
play.
have been retaken.
Cheating bastards. There you go.
And then after that we had a chance from Cadden. Boyle picked up the ball on the left hand side. Good run, took it on the defender, cut inside and got a bit of space from the defender, played the ball across the 18-yard line, and Cadden kind of fired it at the keeper. Dave, should he have done better with this chance?
Nah, you just needed to hit it well and get it on target, to be fair. Like for the angle and that he was coming in it, I'm alright with that. It's not like it was a glorious chance, but I'm just happy he got it on target.
Sorry, no, this is the one in the second half he got on target. He put this one wide. This is the one in the first half he put wide.
This one wide.
Aye.
He sliced this one, didn't he?
Yeah, it's like kind of sliced it. You know what I'm talking
Well,
about?
he should have done what he did in the second half and just focus on getting it on target.
At least he learned.
I had a few beers when we were watching. So first half,
let's
second
not
half,
talk about that either.
all went into each other. So
Yeah,
No fairness, Craig, that was the first half highlight. Sure.
Stuart, do you think he could have been doing better there?
Yeah, obviously we're touching on it later on, but I'm really encouraged at the movement and position that Cadden seems to be getting himself into. A little bit of training and practice and shoot, but is that still some of the rust coming off? It'll come in time, but yeah, put it on target, I think.
Craig, what's your thoughts been on Cadden so far?
His start was really underwhelming. Obviously, he just came in and really played much football, and he was thrown in against St Johnstone. And we were all kind of a bit like, really? But no, he's definitely been, I'd say in terms of flexibility within the team, he's been a more important signing than Irvine because he allows, I know I've spoken about it a couple of times before about the flexibility that Jack Ross seems to want within his team to go from 3 to 4 to maybe 5 and then so on. And then the one that was always like the kicker was it would be Doig maybe moving back one and then somebody like Newell slotting in on the left-hand side. Whereas now it's more, Cadden, who's a more natural wide player, allows McGinn to play right back or right centre-back when it allows. So he's definitely getting better. I know I touched on it when we were having the watch along that it kind of came to bite me on the arse because I said I was worried about us relying attacking wise on 2 wing backs because of the chances that Cadden missed. And then obviously Doig goes and shows that I can absolutely hee-haw about football.
Stuart, I know you made this point live, so when we were watching it live, so I'll come to you on this one. Dre Wright signing, the first game of the season, Martin Boyle played up top. and Dre Wright, a winger who can play wing back. Do you think that was kind of the original hope for this season, that Wright would play there?
Yeah, I think it would be, which then has probably had a bit of a knock-on effect of the effectiveness of Martin Boyle. If we think back to the summer window, we were all desperate to hold on to Martin Boyle. Then he signed a new contract, thinking, oh, absolutely fantastic, great movement forward from the club. And then we've kind of not exactly seen Martin Boyle at his best up until recently. And I think it's because he's not been able to play the role that we'd kind of earmarked from him. Nothing wrong with what Dre Wright's done, but he's just not come in and done the role we expected him to do. Mm-hmm. Whereas signing Cadden, I think, is now, well, really starting to prove dividends, and it's making the team better and giving one of our star performers a real chance to shine, and he's been doing that.
Yeah, I know that that it's been talked upon now that it's kind of came out that Martin Boyle's had some family issues about like his dad and stuff. So we're obviously all our best wishes to him. But Dave, I mean, do you think it's sort of a confidence thing with Boyle in terms of being back to his best, or do you think it's been the new position? I mean, obviously an easy answer is both. But what do you think it's been more in terms of Boyle getting back to his best?
It probably has been a bit of both, Gavin. So I'll give you the easy answer. I don't know what else you want from me there.
I want you to choose one.
He's a confidence player, and he's been getting stick as well online, and it's been like, oh, he got his new deal. He's kind of no arsed anymore or whatever. Maybe Hank, to be fair, he's been targeted by teams as being the danger man, and he's maybe getting marked out of games. And when your confidence is low, and he's maybe not got that confidence to take somebody on, because maybe folk are doubling up on him or giving him that bit of space so that he can't really go around him or whatever. But so it's good because obviously with the second goal, we've seen him doing what he does best, hitting the byline when he was out wider. Yeah, so you kind of got the best of both in that one game.
Craig, what would you kind of put down if you had to put down to one? Would you say it's been the change in position or confidence?
It's a difficult one because I think one ties in with the other.
Yeah.
I know that's a bit of a cop out, but the change in position has given him more confidence because we spoke about it on pods where we sat with bundles of Y Scout stuff in front of us and looking at his percentages and all of that, and he's definitely not. For me, he's definitely not a number one striker, but he definitely gives you something else in terms of, like Dave said, we got the best out of both of them on Saturday. The first goal, like you said, if he's not playing up front, he doesn't find himself on the left-hand side of the park. And then in the second half, he does what we've been wanting him to do for months and months and months, which is drive at defenders. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens. He drives at defenders. I know that the guy slips a wee bit, but ultimately that ends up giving us the second goal. So I think he's also been a benefit of Nisbet's severe downturn in fortunes with the whole Birmingham situation.
Yeah, well, we're going to come back to Nisbet in just a second. We'll get the rest of the. I think that's for the rest of the first half. We'll get the rest of the chances kind of got through here. We had the second half. Hamilton had a half chance, nothing. Rocky saved quite comfortable. There was a Cadden chance, which we spoke about. Like that was the one on target.
That was a good chance. That one.
Aye.
He time to get it on target, and that.
He was learning, which is good. And then Murphy headed into the box, and Doidge kind of holds off two defenders really well, and then plays a nice slip ball to Cadden, and he kind of hits the keeper. But I mean, in terms of that chance, I kind of wanted to speak a bit more about Doidge, more Stuart. I mean, this is a really good example of what Doidge brings to the team, even when he's not scoring goals. Bits of play like this.
Yeah, he is a real team player. I think it's great to see him contributing in that manner. His work rate is fantastic, but we signed him for goals. The goals will come back into his game, but he doesn't seem to be letting the head go down, things like that, and he's contributing in other ways. And he's one of these strikers that can pull defenders out of position. They know that he is dangerous in the box despite his kind of current drought. And yeah, you're just going to be able to create chances with guys like that doing that.
Yeah, and then like say, so I think it's a bit of a difficult one. Nisbet came on as a sub. We've got Doyce doing the good work like that. Boyle scoring goals. Dave, it's going to be hard for Nisbet to get back in the team, which is crazy because I think he's still the league top goal scorer unless Tav's scored another penalty.
No, I think Edward's the top goal scorer now, but
Right.
the thing with Nisbet is annoying because we're kind of shooting ourselves out in the foot a wee bit now. Because he gets picked for the Euros and then he goes and plays for Scotland in the Euros, his value goes up, doesn't it? But at the end of the day, you can't have a player. I don't know what his mindset's like. I don't know if his mindset's good. The club have not said anything, but transfer request obviously did happen. We've no said it didn't happen. So for you to be 6 months into a 4-year deal and be acting like that, to me personally, lose a wee bit of respect for the guy. But it's easy for me to say that because I'm a Hibs fan. I want all Hibs players to be fucking diehard Hibs fans and fucking getting tattoos and that. And I mean, like the exact same as how every fan is. That's how you want to act. You want them to you hear. That's why Flo said what he did when he went to Rangers. That's what fans want to hear. But I certainly think that Nisbet will struggle to get back in, and it's not necessarily a bad thing because it shows that we've got a bit of depth that we didn't think we had when the window shut.
Yeah, Craig, your thoughts? What's next for Nisbet?
It's a difficult one because I think I said this on Saturday as well. Like, kind of a couple of weeks ago, we were saying, imagine we've had Nisbet for a year and we never get to see him on a Hibs top. Like, how gutting that is. And now when I think about it, I'm just like, and that's, like Dave says, that's me thinking from a fan perspective. We want our favourite players to stay at the club forever and love the club like we do, but it's not feasible. He's definitely going to find it tough to get in, but then we shoot ourselves in the foot. So it's like, why are we turning down £3.5 million for a player that can't get in the team?
Yeah, I mean,
but then you can't have the player dictating the whims of the to the club.
It's a bad example for the next one.
Exactly, because then you get kind of Nisbet's like, then what happens with Porteous and McGregor as well? That's maybe a different scenario because they're at different ends of their career.
Unfortunately, I think he's just been a bit of a daft young laddie who's had his head turned, maybe poorly advised by agent, manager, and like that.
I don't think he is, Stuart, because this is now the third time it's happened.
I mean, he's had the same agent the whole time, so maybe it's a tactic from the agent.
He's done it to Wraith at Dunfermline. He'd done it to Dunfermline last January when we went for him. And now he's done it to us. Like,
did he throw in a transfer request when we tried to get him in that previous window?
Yeah, January window he did.
Did he?
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, he didn't. The thing that's worse with the Hibs one is he signed a 4-year deal, like, and he's 6 months into it. And I think I seen on the View for the Terrace, he had before the weekend there, his previous 5 games, he had 1 shot on target or something.
The goal against Celtic, guys.
So, like, I don't know where he gets his sense of entitlement for or his confidence because he's not producing on the park.
And at the end of the day, Birmingham, really, mate. Like, if
there
was Aston Villa coming in for a year or something like that, he's in a Premier League club, brilliant, yeah, kind of difficult to stop him getting his way there. But Birmingham are looking pretty likely for League One football next year.
Yeah. But then it could have been a similar tactic. He goes down to the Championship for 6 months, bangs in goals. Scotland squad, top end Championship Premier League club comes in.
Hands in a transfer request.
Aye, exactly. I mean, when you look at players over the last, certainly since we've been Hibs fans, I don't think there's been a better club to play for to get you to where you want to go, apart from the top two. I mean, you only need to look at. I know they went to Celtic and Rangers, but Brown, Thompson, Whittaker went to Celtic and Rangers, won countless trophies. Look at McGinn down in England.
Stephen Fletcher with us as well.
Stephen Fletcher, Jason Cummins also got. I know he'd never done too well, but he still got his chance at Nottingham Forest. We're a club that if you put the graft in and you can, even players like David Murphy going back as well, can all these players manage to get themselves a move and better their careers?
The thing is, though, there's a
And
good.
not one of them went to a shitey level like what Birmingham are at just now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, Dave, you mentioned that stat there about one shot on target in 5 games. There is a good chance that Jack Ross was already thinking, once Cadden's up to form and he's playing on the right hand side, I'm going with Doig and Boyle for a few games because this isn't working with Nisbet. So it could have been like, regardless of the transfer interest and transfer, he could have been on the bench. So we might be looking too much into this. So we don't know obviously the ins and outs, but
it was the catalyst for it though, because obviously against Dundee United we played and we won, and they kept a winning team, and then from then on, if we keep winning and they keep playing well, then he's going to need to hit an awful lot to get back in.
Yeah, he's getting short stints at the moment. I think he even got tried in the number 10 position when he came on, where Murphy had been playing. So trying.
Well, he played there against Hamilton at Hamilton, didn't he? And he was brilliant that day.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, like, it was only a few months ago that he lost his dad. Like what we said at the start, all the stuff we've been through in this last year, we've all been through a wee different, trials and tribulations as individuals. And he's just because he's a football player doesn't mean he can put that to one side, as we've seen with Boyle with his dad. So, I think I speak for all of us when I say what we want is a fit and firing and enthusiastic Kevin Nisbet back in the team and scoring goals, because I tell you what, we'd be a lot worse off without him.
Yeah. Aye. I mean, that's the thing. Up until his sort of form, obviously he did score against Celtic, which probably kind of kept him in that frame. But he was a shoo-in for Player of the Year up until that point. I don't think there was anybody.
He was a shoo-in for the Euros.
Yeah. So
I mean,
let's we'll see how the next few games go, and if he can get back in, and we'll kind of go for there. We'll spoke about a bit for a bit, so we'll move on for there. And like I say, Joe Newell, another player who's sort of in contention for Player of the Year. I thought he had a brilliant game, and there was one point where he kind of put a really dangerous ball, and he kind of cut onto his left foot, put a dangerous ball into the box, and McGregor kind of got a knee to it, and the keeper saved it, and it went out for it should have went out for a corner, but given a goal kick, which was really strange. But just like say, a really dangerous ball, so I wanted to comment on that. And then like say the goal, which we've already sort of spoke about, Ball being back to his confident best, running at defenders, gets to the byline, which it's great to see him doing that again. He's a bit annoyed because he never got the assist. He puts the ball across the goal. It takes a deflection off the defender and comes to Doig, who heads into the back post. I mean, for Doig, someone who, Dave, he's been a centre back sort of coming through his career, transitioned to left back, got himself a run in the team in left back, improved it on the position, and I mean, I'll be honest, I'm quite surprised this is his first goal for Hibs, because he's been in these attacking positions a lot.
Yeah, and he is just getting better and better every week, and he gives you that threat going forward, but he's very competent at the back. And it's been needed. He puts a good ball in the box. Stevenson's kind of been lacking that, like one assist in a few years. Stevenson's had, didn't he? So Doig kind of chips in. He gives you an outlet, like we're saying, it kind of well balanced. If Cadden's producing the right and then Doig's producing the left, and for 18-year-old, it's quite frightening how good he is. But we kind of need to keep a lid on it a wee bit. But he could. Fucking hell, he could go for like fucking millions, Gav. Couldn't he?
Well, we said this about Porteous, so let's not get too excited.
But
yeah.
Scotland are short of left backs, right enough. But
yeah, I mean, Craig, there's been quite a lot of interest and reports coming out today that Hibs are trying to sign him down to a new long-term contract. Pretty obvious to say this is a thing that we have to do.
Oh, 100%. He's definitely. I'd be quite sad to see him at centre back, to be honest, because he definitely has the attributes to. I mean, he's inside the 6-yard box when he scores on Saturday. Like when have we ever seen Lewis Stevenson inside the 6-yard box? And I think the way that you said on Saturday, like, why is Jack Ross taking him off again? But I think it's great. My management for Ross, he's given him 65, 70 minutes and he's given him a rest. There was a period where I think when we played Rangers and he'd done really well against Tavernier, and then he was no, that's the game that he came back in. Sorry, but he'd been out for maybe 4 or 5 weeks before it, and that's when Mackie had came in and done really well. Who another one just seems to have disappeared off the face of the earth, which I think is a shame for him because he done well when he came in. But no, Doig is definitely one, as Dave says. Like I can see the money signs in Ron Gordon's eyes already. Like
yeah. We've got KRW0707 saying offer him a 5-year deal, best young player I've seen for years. Yeah, really exciting. I mean, the reason I'm sort of saying, like, I heard somebody compare him to Paul Hanlon in terms of the fact he is a centre back and that's his long term position, but he, Paul Hanlon came through, made his debut at Hibs at left back and then transitioned over to centre back. But the way he's playing at left back, he's maybe went, here, this is my position, and he might, I could see him sticking with it. But like you say, Stuart, definitely got a lot of competition for that position going forward. So hopefully news comes out that he signed a new long-term deal and keep Arsenal and Man City at bay for a bit longer.
Tell you what, he'll definitely go for more than that Aaron Hickey went for. Fact.
Potentially, yeah.
I think what's good to remember right now, his current deal runs out in 2023, so we're not hitting the panic button for it just yet. But it's good to see that the club, and I think this is maybe what Ron Gordon's tenure should be more about, securing players that we know have got a bit of sell-on value, things like that. How many times recently have we seen good players almost just kind of like pretty much walk out of the club? And I must be honest, on Saturday night I did have to look up his age online because there was a lovely picture of him holding the bottle of Eden Mill Gin, and I wondered if he was old enough to actually be having that. Do we have something in place if an under 18-year-old does win the man of the match?
But it says a lot for young players. Like Ray McKinnon had I think Ray McKinnon was at Queen's Park last season, or whoever was the Queen's Park manager last season, and they said they were like he can walk, he can go into that Hibs team, like he can go straight into that Hibs first team. And you don't get that often about young players. It's always a case of, we'll get them out on loan and we'll do this. Like when we're talking about players like Fraser Murray and Innes Murray, Ryan Shanley, 2022, 23. Between them, they've probably got about, Shanley's got what, 2? Innes Murray's got none. Fraser Murray's maybe got about 15 to 20 appearances. And Josh Doig's about 3-4 years younger than them.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not often. It's if you're good enough, it doesn't matter what age you are.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to prove it with Doig as well.
Yeah, a real talent. There's a couple more comments here sort of saying, Whiter57 saying, think Doig is a level-headed young laddie who knows he's got a lot to learn. Yeah, so yeah, I think, I don't think we're going to see him rushing off anytime soon. Reedy16 saying about making sure we don't have a release clause in there and sort of lose him for cheaper than his value. So yeah. So I mean, like I say, hopefully that news comes out that he signed a new contract soon. And in terms of the rest of the game, obviously Scott Allen done that interview and kind of opened up about his situation, which was really well done. Scott, I thought I watched both of them. I watched the Sky Sports one and the Hibs TV one, which was a little bit shorter. Both of them really well put together. Scott spoke brilliantly, I thought. So great to see him coming on and getting more minutes. He's kind of spoke about the fact that he might only be it's going to be hard because everything with reserve football for him to get his minutes up, so it might not be until next season we see him back to his best, which is a bit frustrating. But I mean, we did see for a brief spell before Newell went off, Allen in the number 10 position and then Newell and Irvin behind him. Stuart, do you think that's a midfield we could see start this season? And do you think that could be this is maybe just me because they're my favourite three, but is that a midfield that we could get excited about?
Yes, it is. I'm not going to say it's on par with Allen, McGeoch and McGinn, but it is something that we could definitely build upon there. But first things first, we need to sort that bloody pitch out. I thought Jackson Irvin and Murphy both had very quiet games, and I'm wanting to actually blame the pitch for it.
Well, the pitch is shocking.
I think we could have had a lot more from all of them, but we are going back to our very first point, we're coming into the business end of the season. We are getting top 6 football, there's no doubt of that. So we're going to have games against Aberdeen, against Rangers, against Celtic. Immediately you're thinking Gogic, straight in that midfield.
Yeah, aye, don't want to ignore him. Dave, I've kind of spoke about, like, say, that those three potentially starting. this season, and that depends probably a lot on Scott Allen's fitness, but is it a midfield three we could actually see start at all? Because, I mean, we've spoke a lot about contract situations, but Irvin and Newell's both contracts up at the end of the season, and if it's no until next season we're seeing Scott Allen start, could it potentially be a midfield we won't actually see start again?
Yeah, possibly, which would be a wee bit of a shame, because I would be quite good to see that three, just to see exactly what they can do, because I think Irvin gives you that kind of flexibility because he's a bit more all round. So he's got that physical presence, aerial presence, but he's a bit of a baller as well. So definitely. But then what do you do? What do you do with McGuinness? I mean, we paid a couple of grand for McGuinness. So
Halberg as well.
Halberg was he was playing all right. Like a couple of good games. I probably don't think. I think
Was Halberg even on the bench on Saturday?
I seen him on the bench.
Was he?
Well, I seen him sitting in the stands, but I don't know if he was in the. I think he was on the bench though.
I'll check that now. But yeah, I mean, Craig, it's there's been some criticism. I mean, I'll be honest, I've been one of them at times that the football's not been exciting enough, not been enough chances created. But obviously we're getting the results, so that's the main thing. We're but obviously, like I say, just now it's tough at home because of the pitch. But do you feel that a run in the team of a fully fit Scott Allen or Newell and Irvin would get that exciting football that fans are missing?
Oh, definitely. I mean, on his day, technically, I would put Scott Allen up against anybody in the league. For his ability to spot a pass, his ability to play a pass, his ability to play a perfect weight of a pass. There's, maybe Turnbull at Celtic. Hadji at Rangers maybe for that technical ability, on the ball. But I don't think there's anybody else in the league that is able to do the ball. But think about the ball against Rangers last season for Horgan's goal. Like he's picked it out in where he's beat about 12 men with that ball somehow. So it's definitely a midfield three that would excite the fans, but then you also think, is it maybe a bit too attacking? So immediately your mind goes towards Gogic. But no, I'd love to see, that's the gutting thing, man. Imagine us rocking up at Easter Road in the middle of April, sunny day, couple of lagers deep, sitting in our seats watching them, like Scott Allen being the conductor of the orchestra.
Yeah,
magic.
I mean, hopefully, like I say, it's still a bit sunny in August, and we've got, and Irvin and Newell have both signed 4-year deals, and we've got that to look forward to for quite a while yet.
There's your season ticket campaign right there.
Yeah, that's me sold. So yeah, I mean, overall thoughts on the game then, Dave? Sort of good performance.
Yeah, I was happy with it. First 10 minutes aside, so I was a wee bit nervous first 10, but then I suppose obviously it wasn't a free flowing fantastic football, but we did create enough chances for it to. It was convincing. It was comfortable. Kind of mind Hamilton doing anything really. So happy enough.
Yeah, good 3 points. And obviously McGregor, big part of the defensive performance again. One of the points which I can't remember who it was made it. Dave, it might be Craig or Dave. I can't remember. But Davy Weir played until he was 41 or whatever at Rangers at that high level. So why can't Darren do it too? So yeah. Especially in that back three, I think that suits him really well. If he's got legs either side of him, so
I think I heard on commentary as well. They were talking about he's discovered something to do with his. It's some like weird remedy. That's helping him. That's got him in what they say he feels is the best shape that he's ever been in. So he's definitely. I think all of us. I know I kind of said it a few weeks ago, like, bring McGregor back. And I kind of said it half-heartedly because in my head, I'm wanting the McGregor of 5 years ago. But he's no any worse than 5 years ago. Like, he's I think, I can't remember who said it on Saturday. It was either Dave or Stuart. He's a defender who defends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't care about step-overs in the box or dinking it over the striker's head to the left back. Like, if that ball needs to go into row A or row Z, he'll put it there.
Yeah.
And long may it continue.
Yeah, it's been I mean the League Cup semi-final was obviously horrible night, horrible weekend, horrible few days after it. But if it's been the catalyst for the rest of the season, obviously a cup's the first thing you want. Much would have preferred that, but if it's been a catalyst for the upturn in form, the change in the team in terms of McGregor coming in, and the clean sheets then and the change of formation, then brilliant. It's great to see that. Obviously that run of the team. So obviously with us doing really well, we're not getting ahead of ourselves, as we've said many times on this podcast. We're not getting ahead of ourselves, but we're going to catch Celtic.
Yes.
We're getting Champions League football. Dave, you spoke about this when I was speaking to you earlier on, and you said, no, I'll wait and I'll talk about it tonight. I mean, was it 12 points behind Celtic? If we win our game in hand, it's down to 9. Why do you think with only 8 games to go, we can turn around a 9-point deficit and catch Celtic?
Right, what we need to do, right, is realise that if we do win our game in hand run, right, with a handful of games left in a season, have we ever been that close to Champions League football? The answer is no. So, will it happen again? The answer is probably no. Unless, obviously, Ron Gordon comes in, does it, said they promised they would do, and we could challenge and we splash, and we might go into bigger and better things. But what I'm used to being a Hibs fan is you hear a record season, then the next season's shite because you've done something good, so why fucking building it? Do you know what I mean? So we'll live off this season for a few years. So what I'm thinking is we've got them at Easter Road, then we beat them, right, because they're shite. Then that's 6 points. After the split, they've got Rangers away. So they've got Rangers twice before the end of the season. It's the only time I'll ever support Rangers in my entire life. They've got Rangers away.
The game's at Parkhead because the Rangers can win the league at Parkhead.
But the one after the split will be Ibrox.
The one after the split, they've got them twice.
Right.
Yeah. One after the split will be One after the split will be Ibrox. One we should have them at Easter Road, and they should have Aberdeen away as well. That's 3 hard away games. Celtic are murder. See if they start getting under pressure and they keep winning at the end of the season and they're toiling. I'm telling you, by the way, it's no out with the realms of possibility. And I think we should hold on to it and maybe why not just dream. It will not be third, it'll be fantastic. I'm not saying if we didn't get second, I'll be disappointed. But fuck it, I'm always pessimistic. I'm optimistic. They beers have hit me hard on Saturday.
Craig, you're nodding your head. Do you think it's? I mean, I'll be honest, I don't. Do you think it's a possibility?
Well, I said it at the end of the transfer window. Like, if we've got any crummy ambition, regardless of whether it comes off or no, hold on to Nisbet, hold on to Porteous and go for second. And we're currently going for second without either of them being in the team. You go over the past, like I've just quickly looking up, over the past 20 games in the league, 20 games would be 4 points behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so we're keeping pace, so to speak. If we fall up short, like Dave says, finishing third would be amazing. Like, second is a pipe dream. But if we can get somewhat close, like, I'll look at those games against Livy and Ross County at Easter Road and be spewing.
Yeah,
because there's definitely that Celtic team. Like, I don't know if there's anybody in that Hibs changing room that smells blood, but 12 points. We were 6 points, 7 points behind Aberdeen a few weeks ago. Aberdeen had a game or two in hand, and look at it now. We're 4 points ahead with a game in hand.
Yeah, Stuart, they're talking about the two of them were talking about turning around a 9-point deficit for catching Celtic. Surely we've got to keep an eye on Aberdeen, who are only currently 4 points behind us. We shouldn't be getting too far ahead of ourselves in terms of third.
Mate, when you climb a ladder, you look at the rung above. You don't care where your feet have been.
Yes.
Nailed it.
Thank you.
Yes,
now, we do need to keep an eye on Aberdeen. However, their transfer dealings in the window were shocking to the point of fright, really, for Aberdeen fans. They have sold a lot of the family silver, and they just managed to get their first goal in 7 games against a very poor Kilmarnock team. The other day, speaking to an Aberdeen fan who's a friend of mine today, and he says, the game was dull as dishwater. If they scored early doors, that game would have been another 0-0. and God, we could have had a little bit more points. But it does sound mental to say Celtic are there for the taking. We just have to stay focused on ourselves. For once, we're not overly sitting here thinking, all right, we need someone to do us a favor, things like that. It's kind of in our hands. I think it's fair to point out Rangers and Celtic playing each other twice. Aberdeen, Celtic, it's a nice one to think about, but Aberdeen's record against the Old Firm's abysmal under McInnes.
The thing is, when you think about that, like with Celtic and Aberdeen, like Rangers and Aberdeen, either way we win. Yeah. Because if Aberdeen can take points off Celtic and we're close, it gives us a shot in the foot. But if Rangers and Celtic can take points off Aberdeen, if they're still trying to breathe down our necks, then it's only going to go. I can't see. I don't see us finishing lower than third.
Yeah.
And I also see us breaking the record points tally Lennon set.
Yeah.
Do we need 5 wins to break it?
Yeah.
Oh, I got quite an interesting stat here, if you don't mind, without us talking into Hun talk again. The 1st of January, Celtic were 19 points behind with 3 games in hand. Next round of games are going to come round on for the 1st of March. Celtic will be 18 points behind with no games in hand. That's absolutely shocking. Why can't we go and take them on that?
That's what I mean. Even just give them a wee nudge as if they say we're here, because they'll have nothing to play for.
Nah, well, I seen Celtic fans saying, "Oh, this is a glorified friendly against Ross County." I'm like, keep thinking that, keep that mentality, because we'll be coming. And tell Reedy to stop clipping stuff for me saying I'm very careful of what I'm trying to say here. he takes it out of context. He could be a journalist.
So who are y'all cheering on next week then? I mean, Celtic Aberdeen next week. Dave, are you cheering on Aberdeen, or are you wanting them to get beat?
I'm the same as Stuart. We'll win. We'll win anyway. We'll beat Motherwell comfortably. So let's go for Celtic. Let's come on the sheep next weekend. A wee draw would be fantastic.
A draw would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Crazy. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I was kind of working it out in terms of Aberdeen. If they lose to Celtic and we beat Motherwell, and then we win our game in hand against Ross County, it goes to 10 points. But that's 3 games. You're not going to get, like, I'm trying to predict the results, and I never win that many coupons, so let's not get carried away.
But those 3 games are Rangers twice and us.
Yeah.
Providing we win the other 2 games that we've got, obviously. But
yeah. Can you imagine it even just goes to 6 points?
6 points with 3 games to go. Oof. That would be exciting.
Gav, there's been a similar size swing with less games to go.
It's exciting. Like, it's great to be in this position where we're talking about, you know, I mean, obviously I made the graphic and I'm the one that's asking the questions, but I'll be happy with third. I'm still not getting ahead of myself. It's
because you're not at Easter Road getting caught up in it, Gav. If you were at Easter Road, and I know you've been at Easter Road this season and we've no, but like, if we were, like, imagine us sitting in behind the goals after the game on a Saturday, like lagers flowing, with just scalped somebody at home, like, you 100% would be thinking it.
Yeah. I mean, I can see a few sort of comments on this. Paul on YouTube has said Hibs for second. Let's have a look here. We've got where was the comment here? So I've lost it. Aberdeen are pish. KRW0707. Are we guaranteed?
That's an opinion I can solely get behind.
Alan's asking, are we guaranteed European football either way if we come second or third? Yeah, I mean, third's kind of looking. Is it not like guaranteed football to Christmas, one way or another, if we finish third?
I don't know how this new conference thing works. I think if the Scottish Cup gets called, then the place that would go to whoever wins the cup would then go to third place. Mm-hmm. Third place is Europe spot would then go to fourth place, and fourth place is European spot goes to fifth place, I think.
Right.
Am I correct in saying if that happens, the third place goes into the final playoff game for the Europa group stages?
That's my understanding of it. And then the loser of that, like the Champions League, the loser of the final Champions League playoff place goes into Europa League group stage.
Yeah. So the loser of the stages until Christmas. Yeah, so wow, that's.
I tell you what, and it's see now that I'm older and I'm actually looking at it, like I'm not be quite cheering them on, but the further Rangers can get, the better it actually does for the rest of us. And I know that then it also
the coefficient. So.
it gives them
I have
the
to say,
chance
like,
to increase their resources. But if they're getting more money, we're getting more money, and it's.
My dad asked me about this yesterday. He said if Rangers had got drawn against Leicester in the Europa League, who would you want to win? I was like, Leicester, of course. He's like, no, it looks good for the Scottish game because Leicester are high flying, and if Rangers are running away with the league, if they get beat, it doesn't look good for the Scottish game. I didn't care. I want Rangers to get beat. I hate them.
Nah, there's this unwritten rule, I think, and you see it on Twitter all the time when it comes to Scottish football. When we will slag each other to the high ends, right? Celtic, Rangers, Hibs, Hearts, whatever. As soon as an English person tries to come in and make a comment regarding Scottish football, it's a bit like the everybody just goes, all right, we'll just put the battens down for a minute and we'll all join in and we'll pile in on this guy. Yeah. If it means a better Scottish football, I'm all for Scottish clubs, all Scottish clubs. I think it's funny to laugh at when like Hearts got put out by the fucking farmers in Malta, but long term it damages the Scottish game.
Yeah, I mean it's I don't know. I hate Rangers. I want Rangers to get beat all the time, regardless of whether they're playing.
Yeah, Craig makes a fantastic point, but so does Gav. It's difficult.
Such a conflict. What's best for Hibs, but fucking hate Rangers.
On the second place, William McCone has said, it's Celtic's to lose, not ours. Let's fucking go for it. I love the optimism. I love this.
Yes.
So yeah. So Dave, where are we finishing this season?
Third. But we should go for second.
Brilliant, love it. Okay,
I'm not deluded, but I'm optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll finish up with some of the questions we've got here. So I'll find one and kind of put it to you and find here. So there's somebody there in terms of the answering the question about European football. Sorry, 2 seconds. I had that question there.
I've got a good comment here from Reedy16. Do we all want to see Big Marv lift the League Cup this weekend?
That's the one I was looking for. Thank you.
Couldn't give a fuck.
I'm still
give a fuck.
I'm going to be better. We're no there.
We're not in it, so I could not give a fuck who lifts it.
I'm annoyed that Levy won it in 2003, 2004 when we did
2004.
Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, fuck Levy. But if he wins it, then fair play to him.
They'll have won the same amount of trophies as us in the last 20 years if they lift it, so fuck them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I even though he's thinking that's for the pod, I love Big Marv. It's, and like I say, one of my mates, really good mates, is a Levy fan. So I think I love him. So I'd love him to be happy. But at the same time, I hate Livingston for 2004. So I don't know. I'll see how I feel in the day.
You're a complex man, Gav.
I am. Very complex. Comment here from Joe saying Newell strolled it. Newell and Irvin in the Champions League. Come on then. Yep. So Whiter 57 asking, when do we jet off for Europe? When would the first sort of games be? And I mean, we're not getting to go as fans. I mean, I know there's light at the end of the tunnel from some of the news today, but Dave, we're not getting to go away in terms of like July time. If that's when it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably the end of July because the Euros will be on. Know that anybody that's playing the Euros would be playing in Europe at that early stage anyway, unless Scotland get quite far. Probably not going to happen. But
imagine, right, the summer sun is just setting at Easter Road, right? It's 7:45. It's a Thursday night. It's 18th, 19th of August. The summer sun's setting. The teams come out, there's a roar, they all line up, and you just see all the ball boys shaking that Champions League emblem. Oh, yeah, fuck up.
I come on, admit it, you would be buying the Champions League patches for your arms, for the shirts, guaranteed.
All right.
I'm not much. I don't buy the patches very often, but yeah, 100% for that.
I'd be putting the patches on everything. They do my work t-shirts, fucking everything. My jammies at night.
Just ironing one onto my arm so the rust to come off.
Exactly. Oh.
That'd be fucking magic. Like,
let's have a look here. So we've got a question here from KRW0707. Would we have taken 3 points from the game if Hamilton had kept 11 players in the park? Stuart, what's your thoughts? I know we spoke about Hamilton starting the game well.
Yeah, they definitely started well, but I think we still would have taken the 3 points.
I mean, Craig, Hibs have been finding a way to win, haven't they? Like, even if the games haven't started well, we've been finding a way to win and been very consistent in that term.
and we've been grinding it out as well. I mean, Hamilton, St Mirren a couple of weeks ago when they went down to 10 men, obviously they got the goal back and we've seen it out. Aberdeen, a team that we've been notoriously shite against over the years. We've seen off comfortably. We've seen Hamilton off comfortably on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So it is definitely. I'm definitely starting to eat my words regarding my Jack Ross GTF comments about six weeks ago.
Another comment.
I think we were all saying that, to be fair.
Another comment from KRW07. Boyle has had his best games through the middle versus Hearts at Tiny and got a double and then moved him back to the wing. Now he's back in this position where the team are getting the rewards. Dave, I mean, it's fair to say it is looking like a really good argument for that. It's maybe his best position as much as we've seen him run to the byline on the right wing.
Yeah, I think he said his favourite position though when he was getting asked those questions on Hibs TV, off the kind of did that feature with the two wee laddies. He said his favourite position was out wide. So it is interesting that he's getting better performances up top when he's coming out with that. But
does carry on this incredible record he's got as well of only losing once when he scores.
Yeah.
Whenever Martin Boyle scores for Hibs, we didn't lose, apart from that one time we did.
A good point here, Craig. You said about Thursday nights, the Champions League's on Tuesday and Wednesdays.
So it's, I'm just, sorry, rookie mistake, that one.
Yeah, and a few comments there about sort of Champions League football and things like that, and everyone getting ahead of themselves, which I love to see. But let's have a look. So, and a question here from Lewis Connor on YouTube. Thoughts on Dabrowski being recalled? It seems another loan would be better from him. Now we have Macy. I mean, and it was at a championship club, but could we be waiting for the lower leagues to come back, or
he was at League One, was he not? Was he not at Dumbarton?
Where at Dumbarton? I thought they were in the championship.
No, they're League One.
Oh, so he wouldn't have been playing out. So is there maybe a case for him to go back to Dumbarton once they resume football?
Possibly.
If it could happen,
because I mean the whole point of him coming back is that, like Jack Ross said, he's not coming back to sit on the bench. I suppose he's been proved right because he's not even sitting on the stand.
Yeah. I can see sort of Baby Shanks sort of made a comment here saying he was recalled when Ophir was injured. But yeah, Baby Sharks on the mind. But yeah, apologies, Shanks. Yeah, so that's why he was recalled. But I mean, Stuart, could you see him? Obviously, I think if the lower leagues do resume, I think there will be exceptions made for extending transfer windows and allowing loans and free agents and things like that to kind of get squads back to a place where they can go again. If the lower leagues do resume, do you see Dabrowski going back out for the remainder of it?
Yeah, I can. There's no point having 3 first team keepers on the bench for us there. So yeah, just send him back out. Whether there's still a future for him at Hibs, is there maybe a bigger question mark on that? Is he turning into this generation's Jason Gardner at the club for absolutely donkeys, and then just I don't think Jason ever played a full team first game for us, and neither has Dabrowski.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, he's kind of got to get into the team. Either, I mean, there's so many cup games left, so either in the Scottish Cup if it happens, or he's got to go out and play at a high level next season, regardless whether it's not a Hibs.
Yeah, I would say a loan. Definitely a loan if he's not going to be playing would be beneficial.
Yeah,
100%.
Okay, so we'll finish up with a quick game of start, bench, sell. I was trying to get the graphic there, but I can't find it, so apologies for that for the video, but never mind, it's only a silly graphic. So this is maybe one I should have left for October, but I thought it's maybe because Keith Wright and Mickey Weir were in the studio for the match on Hibs TV, I thought we'd do, and it's obviously 30 years since we won the League Cup, although it was in October. So we've got Keith Wright, Mickey Weir, and Murdo McLeod. Start, bench, sell. So whilst we're having to think about it, I mean, Dave, you're similar age to me. Was Keith Wright? I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is just me, but when I was a kid, apparently I ran about the house going Keith, because he was one of my favourite players. Is he sort of one that you can remember from a young age?
Yeah, it was early doors. It's probably one of the first ones I remember. Me and Craig were talking about this the other day on WhatsApp. To be fair, there was a few, but he's probably one of the first I remember. I would say Murdo McLeod. Obviously, no memories at all, really. So it'd just be from reading back history. No, obviously, he was a big player for Hibs. So, yeah.
Yeah, Murdo McLeod obviously did go to Celtic in the early 90s, but the captain and things like that, Stuart, and a big presence at Hibs whilst he was there.
Yeah, came in just at the right time where we needed a real kind of leader on the park as well, definite quality from Murdo McLeod. You're talking really about my first Hibs team in kind of 91, 92. I'd have been 6, 7 year old. So when you were starting to go to the games, you were starting to understand it a little bit more. I don't think I truly appreciated at the time how much trouble my family's club would have been in the previous kind of 18 months, and still kind of obviously lucky that we're here and on much solider ground now with it. But yeah, boys like Keith Wright, Mickey Weir, they were my early heroes. I was very fortunate a good wee while ago to go to the Hibernian Historical Trust's Hall of Fame dinner, and I was just stood there with a buddy, and in walked Keith, Mickey, and Gordon Hunter, and the four of us all just stood and shared stories. And I was a bit like a kid meeting Santa, the Tooth Fairy, and the Easter Bunny. I was just in there with my jaw on the floor, my wife in the corner laughing at me, but it was absolutely fantastic. It was just a brilliant night, and such great guys as well. Exactly who you want as ambassadors for your club.
Yeah, I mean, and Craig, I mean, Mickey, he always speaks so well. He obviously still does, articles on the in Raven News in regards to Hibs. He spoke in the podcast. We had him on for an episode. It was one of my favourite podcasts to do. He could tell how much he loves the club and how hard-working a guy he is. He got played at left backs at times, and he just got on with it and done a shift there. But a really exciting player that kind of got fans out of his seat, Mickey Weir, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, like Dave, I'm just a wee bit too young. I remember running about going Keith, because I think all kids at our age done that.
Yeah.
Mickey Weir was probably like I remember him more at Motherwell, because I'm sure he went to Motherwell after they left Hibs. But no, like the rest of you, he's obviously seen the footage. Listening to him talk as well. That's the thing when you listen to certain football players and they talk a certain way. Like Mickey Weir literally sounds like one of us. Like he sounds, he's him and John Hughes have both got that sort of Leith, really strong Leith tongue. The proper Edinburgh accent rather than this gentrified rubbish that I've got. But no, Mickey Weir and Keith Wright are definitely two heroes, and I don't think you really appreciate it unless you watched that BBC programme, The Team That Was.
Yeah.
Just how close we were to not. I mean, what would we be doing right now if what Edinburgh United talk?
Nah.
Like it just doesn't bear thinking about, and it's a proper, redemption story that the club literally rose from the ashes. A year later to lift the trophy.
I mean, and Dave, I spoke about the podcast episodes I done. I literally not just saying that because we're talking about it just now. One of my favourite episodes to do, Mickey Weir. We were just sort of speaking afterwards. We spoke to him for about 40 minutes while the equipment's still sitting out and stuff. I'm like, I'm not even recording. He's just such a genuine guy to speak to, and just people say about Louis being one of the nicest people in football. Mickey Weir's up there as well, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, we had the whole muck up at the start as well. We had to get him to change location, and he didn't bother, turned up, and he's right into his racism, show racism, the red card thing.
Fucking hell. Thank God you said that.
That came out the wrong way. Anyway, so
my God.
he's right. He's right into that.
Where do you get that clipped?
He was don't not clip that. He was promoting all that and that. So he's just a nice guy, and I think he helps it with, or he did help it with Bathgate Juniors and that as well. So he's still kind of involved in the football and that, and he talks well. And it's the way he says, "Oh, I'm going to watch the Hibs." Like that kind of generation, they'll say the Hibs. Like
yeah.
So kind of the way they speak it. It's good.
Yeah. So to clarify, Mickey, we are a big part of show racism, the red card. Not racism, yeah. But yeah, so let's get your answers then. Start, bench, sell. Stuart, start from yourself.
Oh, no, come back to me. I'm still laughing too.
Oh my God.
Dave.
Have you had to be that Mickey? Like, biting his racism, that boy. Yeah, aye. Jesus Christ.
Dave, who are you starting?
I am starting. Start Keith Wright because, like I say, he was kind of what we were used to. Probably bench Mickey Weir, and I'd sell Murdo McLeod because I don't really know. Like I've never really seen him that much, and it's kind of all his stuff's all kind of legend for me. So,
Craig,
I am the same as Dave. Keith Wright's one of my early favourites. Him and Darren Jackson. Bench Mickey Weir and sell Murdo McLeod only because he's just always in the media talking about Celtic.
Yeah,
that's a valid point.
Always
Stuart.
talking about Celtic.
Yeah, so I'm going to be very boring and agree with Dave and Craig there. It has to be start Keith, bench for Mickey, and sorry Murdo, cup winning captain, but either way.
Yeah.
To be fair, he done well at it. If you watch that programme, they all put like, what was it? He got money off them all, went to the bookies and stuck money on Hibs to win the cup.
Yeah.
28-1, he got to put about 500 quid on it.
Aye.
Apparently it was never shared out.
It's one that I'm tempted. What I want to do is start Mickey Weir, because like I say, I've met him, loved him. Like, such an exciting player. One of the ones I remember getting out my seat for. Bench, coming off the bench, Keith Wright, Keith, and sell Murdo as well. But if I lean over here, I've still got. This is my teddy, and my teddy's called Murdo, and has been. So I feel like I've had this teddy for 30 years, 31 years. I feel that I have to start Murdo just because he would fall out of me otherwise. I wouldn't really start him. But yeah, so yeah, I would start Murdo, bench Mickey Weir, and sell Keith Wright, which I feel horrible saying, but yeah. So a bit of start, bench, sell to finish up there, and Dave, advocating for racism, which is fun. So we'll finish up there, guys. What you got planned for the rest of the night?
Hee-haw. Is there football on?
Palace and Brighton are on just now.
It was my plan to watch the Man United game last night, and I fell asleep on the sofa at 7:30. So, missed the game, the Man United game last night. So I might try and catch some of that. Stuart, you got much plans for tonight?
Yeah, probably just going to get myself a bit ready for tomorrow, and then a new series of Unforgotten on ITV. Good murder mystery drama thing, so worth a watch.
Craig, plans for tonight?
Watching the next episode of Married at First Sight Australia. I'll tell you what, right? It is absolute car crash, trash reality TV. But by fuck is it entertaining when it's all like high-pitched Australian accents.
Shocking. You're a Love Island guy, aren't you?
Aye.
Yeah, I didn't think about it, so he's watched some of it. I've never seen an episode.
Yeah, I could watch it.
Couldn't again and worse.
Yeah.
My trash TV used to be Big Brother, but then I didn't like it when they just started getting weirdos in it all the time. So I sacked that, and then I like I'm a Celeb now. Yeah, that's probably the only thing I like.
I'm a Celebrity, it's good. But no, Married at First Sight's a good. It's just all these married couples shagging each other. It's Barry. You didn't.
Fair enough.
Married couples did he do that? You're talking nonsense.
No, we each other, like
all right.
other people.
Fair enough.
So yes, I think I'm gonna get my dinner because I never got it beforehand. Surprise, surprise. Get the podcast out, and then I'm back to work tomorrow. Next couple of long days. But yeah. But I know, well, I don't know how reliable they are, but I don't have COVID because what the lateral test, so I get tested twice a week now. So that's interesting. It's horrible doing it to yourself. Ugh. But yeah. So we'll finish up there. Let us know your thoughts on all the topics we've talked about today at HFC Talk. If you're watching live and you missed any of it, you can. This will be up as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. So subscribe to them there. Thank you very much, guys, for coming on tonight and talking about Hibs.
Cheers, Gav.
Worries, man.
Just before we go, just imagine.
It's not happening. Sorry,
The
it was a
roar.
pessimistic one, but it's not happening.
The roar when the music goes down and
What's the Europa League music?
God knows.
Why?
Oh, ho,
why?
ho, 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 ho.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. It's fine.
Shite.
I wonder what the UEFA conference one's going to sound like.
Just like a wee,
That one.
just like a wee recorder.
What was the theme from Benny Hill?
Yeah. So yeah, thanks again, guys. Thanks everyone who watched live. Thank you for listening to the podcast afterwards. We'll be back later in the week to preview the Motherwell game. Keep an eye on the socials for when that'll be, because I've not decided yet. Anyway, thanks again. Cheers.
All right.
Bye.
Cheers, Gav.